Here are a couple of ways to draw Pete Hegseth. This is sort of out of my sketchbooks, and also the sort of thing I teach at my SVA continuing aid classes. First thing we do is, every week, is blind contours. No looking, don't look down at the paper, just draw. This is my first impressions of Pete, and they actually are giving me information I can use later on as I do more detailed pieces. What we know about him this week is that his personal phone number, the one used in a recent Signal chat, was easily accessible on the internet and public apps as recently as March, potentially exposing national security secrets to foreign adversaries. This, by the way, is a half-blind. The phone number could be found in a variety of places, including WhatsApp, Facebook, and a fantasy sports site. It was the same number through which the Defense Secretary, using the Signal commercial messaging app, disclosed flight data for American strikes on the Houthi militia in Yemen. Analysts said that an American Defense Secretary's communication device would usually be among the most protected national security assets. There's 0% chance that someone hasn't tried to install Pegasus or some other spyware on his phone, Mike Casey says. He's the former director of National Counterintelligence and Security Center. He's one of the top 5 probably most targeted people in the world for espionage. Hegseth's use of Signal to convey details of military strikes in Yemen first surfaced last month when the editor of The Atlantic wrote an article that said he had been added, apparently accidentally, to an encrypted chat among senior U.S. government officials. The New York Times reported this week that Hegseth included sensitive information about the strikes in a Signal group chat set up that included his wife and brother and others. Soon after the first Signal chat about Yemen became public in March, Der Spiegel, German magazine, found the phone numbers of Hegseth and other Trump officials on the internet. That Mr. Hegseth's private cell phone number was easily available through commercial providers of contact information is not surprising, security experts said. After all, Hegseth was a private citizen until Trump, who was then president-elect, announced that he wanted the Fox host to run the Pentagon, an $849 billion a year enterprise with close to 3 million employees. Getting his tats in there, just moving them around a little bit. It has now become routine for government officials to keep their personal cell phones when they enter office. Several officials said in interviews, but they're not supposed to use them for official business, as Hegseth did. Even low-level government workers are instructed not to use their personal cell phones and laptops for work-related matters. For senior national security officials, the directive is even more crucial. Hegseth had a significant social media presence, a WhatsApp profile and a Facebook page, which he still has. On August 15th, 2024, he used his personal phone number to join Sleeper.com, a fantasy football and sports betting site, using the name Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, his own name. Less than 2 weeks later, a phone number associated with his wife Jennifer joined the site. She was included in one of the 2 Signal chats about the strikes in Yemen. Hegseth also left other digital breadcrumbs, using his phone to register for Airbnb and Microsoft Teams, a video and communications program. This, by the way, is what I call shadow hunt. We look for where the light and the shadows are. We hold the pencil on its side and just pay attention to the densities of shadow. Also, this is called a values drawing. Hegseth's reviews on Google Maps include endorsements of a dentist. The staff is amazing. A plumber. Fast, honest, and quality work. A mural painter. Painted 2 beautiful flags for us. Spot on. And other businesses. If you use your phone for just ordinary daily activities, you're leaving a highly, highly visible digital pathway that even a moderately sophisticated person, let alone a nefarious actor, can follow, said Glenn Gerstel, a former general counsel for the National Security Agency. Government cell phones, by contrast, are far more secure because they're fitted with rigorous government controls meant to protect official communications. In using that same phone number on Signal to discuss the exact times the American fighter pilots would take off for strikes in Yemen and other sensitive matters, Hegseth opened himself up, and potentially the pilots, to foreign adversaries who have demonstrated their abilities to hack into accounts of American officials, encrypted or not, security experts said. Phone numbers are like the street address that you can give to tell what house to break into, said James Lewis, cybersecurity expert. Once you get the street address, you get the house, and there might be locks on the doors, and you ask yourself, do I have the tools to bypass and break the locks? China and Russia do, and Iran may as well, several experts said. Last year, a series of revelations showed how a sophisticated Chinese intelligence group called Salt Typhoon penetrated deep into at least 9 U.S. telecommunications firms. Investigators said that among the targets were the commercial and encrypted phone lines used by Trump, Vance, and other national security officials. Gerstel said he had no knowledge of Hegseth's phone or if it was subject to attack, but personal phones are typically far more vulnerable than government-issued phones. It would be possible with moderate difficulty for someone to take over a phone in a surreptitious way once they had the number, assuming you clicked something malicious, Gerstel said. And when they are really sophisticated bad guys, like Russia or China, phones can be infected even if you don't click on anything. Cybersecurity experts said that more than 75 countries had acquired commercial spyware in the last decade. Most sophisticated spyware tools, like Pegasus, have zero-click technology, meaning that they can stealthily and remotely extract everything from a target's mobile phone without the user having to click on a malicious link to give Pegasus remote access. They can turn the mobile phone into a tracking and secret recording device, allowing the phone to spy on its owner. Signal is an encrypted app, and its security for commercial messaging service is considered very good. But malware that installed a key logger or keystroke capture code on a phone would allow the hacker or nation state to read what someone types into their phone, even an encrypted app, a former official said. One person familiar with the Signal conversation said Mr. Hegseth's aides warned him a day or two before the Yemen strikes on March 15th not to discuss such sensitive operational details in his group chat. That chat, while encrypted, was not considered as secure as government channels. It was unclear how Hegseth responded to those warnings. Hegseth also had Signal set up on a computer in his office at the Pentagon so that he could send and receive instant messages in a space where personal cell phones are not permitted, according to 2 people with knowledge of the matter. He has 2 computers in his office, one for personal use and one that is government issued, one of the people with knowledge of the matter said. I guarantee you, Russia and China are all over Hegseth's cell phone, said Representative Don Bacon, Republican of Nebraska, who has suggested that Hegseth should be fired. So this Sunday we have an order of Bacon and Heggs. Here's finishing up this shadow hunt. It's very important to pay attention to the tones that you're looking at. These are the keys, and they're telling you everything you need to know about the light in the face. And when you're drawing, it's best to look much more at the model than at what you're drawing. After you've done a whole bunch of things like this, which are instructional and, warm-ups. Your instrument is getting warmed up. You can then go to this sort of thing, which I generally do at the end of the session. Or when I'm alone, this will be the last kind of thing I do. By this point, you're all warmed up, and you also have a pretty strong sense of the person's face. And not only that, your point of view, what you think about that face. All that sort of comes together at the end of a session of drawing. That could be, for me, anywhere between 40 minutes to 3 hours. Decisions are made even when you're not aware of them, and points of view start to emerge. I call this direct line. And the basic theme of this is adjacency. What's next to that? What's next to this? The last thing you drew is the guide to what the next thing will be. So just bravely jump in and trust that the combination of observation and acquired knowledge of the face will get you someplace interesting. Here's hoping for the best outcome for Pete. Thanks for watching.